This Daf Yerushalmi Pesachim. The article also by additional Daf Lamed Aleph. We're up to Rabbi Shimon Lakish Rabbi Yehuda, which is the sixth line down in the Vilna. That is on Daf Chav Zayin Amud Aleph, the last line. So yesterday we said Rabbi Yehuda says that by Bechor we throw the book at you. And if you presumed somehow to get exempt from Bechor by putting a yad goy ba'emtza, some way, shape, or form, so we make you get back the Bechor even at a high price in order to give it to the Kohen. And Rabbi Shlokish had said something similar in our case of someone selling a Behemah Gasa to a non-Jew, that even at a high price, we make you take it back, get it back. The specific case of Lakish was actually one where there was an agent. The Jew was the agent, not even the owner. But so the Gemara says, Yerushalmi Lakish Rabbi Yehuda, yes indeed, the Rabbah community, but it's even greater Chiddush of Yehuda. Now, don't Rabbi Yehuda talking about a case where there's a mitzvah deraisa involved, a mitzvah deraisa of Bechor, and since you tried to get out of it, we sock it to you, we throw the book at you. Now, don't Yerushalmi Lakish in Hilchos Bein Magasa, Yerushalmi Lakish talking about a derabbanan, right? Perhaps even a minhag, because it's talking about the Sarasur sound like when the Moshe's shot, which is what I say, the Sarasur sale was only also Mishum minhag, that the Jewish agent should sell a Bein Magasa. So even at worst, it's only the Rabbanon. The Rabbanon not selling the Bein Magasa, less people come make mistakes about the parameters Shvisas Behemos. So therefore, it's a very big chiddush. And Melakish throws the you even in the case of selling a Bein Magasa to a non-Jew. Okay, so the Gemara had said that Mishnah said rather that Rabbi Yehuda Meir B'Shvura, Mata B'Shvura, you're allowed to sell a broken Bein Magasa to a non-Jew. So it says, Rabbi Yehuda Ela B'Shvura she'enu yachol l'nisrapos. It's only about a broken animal which cannot be healed. So since it can't be healed, so therefore they're not going to do malacha with it on Shabbos. But we're going to shecht it, and Jews not going to see it in the house of a non-Jew doing work. This actually Karmei throws a few other variables. Let's see the Karmei Ada. We assume bought it for shchita. He's not going to leave it around. And the Jews aren't going to see it in the house of non-Jew. The tape it's going to cause all sorts of destructive issues. There's Yerushalmi that you might come to sell a whole one, and then to rent them a whole one, and lend them a whole one. Also, they're not going to leave it around in order to husband it. Mashila. In a way that people then are going to learn that you can sell a healthy animal to a non-Jew. Why? Because there's some of the shvur enim rabas. It's not kept around to mate because it doesn't mate properly. So and that's what the Gemara says. So what about the fact that they can bring a male and mate with this broken animal if it's a female? I'm talking about a male broken animal which cannot be healed, and evidently they don't leave it around to mate. Why not? Bring a female animal. Be rova, be a lettuce, and she's going to this broken male animal will be husband with a female animal, and she's going to give birth. So Gemara doesn't bring down an answer, but the Gemara kind of anticipated that and said Rabbi would say they don't leave broken animals around to mate. But the Gemara says from this discussion between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan, you're not allowed to provide for them the wherewithal to have the next generation, right? So Name Moshe explains. So we're allowed to give them even fetuses, provide them with fetuses. The Rabbi Yehuda Kamar and even Rabbi Yehuda is we're saying the assumption is clear that on both sides, right? The Rabbanon were more machmir, not able to provide a shvur. He says you can't provide a shvur, but he's saying, well, we're not concerned that they're leaving around in order to raise their generations. So because of the shvur status. So Shmamina, this Shmamina over here says Asim Korban Ubayin Shebehem Nachri. It must be also even to sell them fetuses. Just like now to sell the animal itself. Said I only said b'shaber zachar. Dubarin. If there were chashash ubarin, then then there would be an issue. If you're not allowed to provide the animal to a non-Jew. So again, we're only matir according to Abuda by shaber zachar. When Gemara answers, well, Gemara's question of, well, they can still make the Shabbat Zachar. The Gemara doesn't answer, presumably because, like Korban Islam, we're not going to allow to leave it around for that. But even Rabbi Yehuda is only matir Shabbat Zachar, not Shabbat Nekeva, because it might already, even if they don't leave it around, says Pnei Moshe, to get pregnant, it might already be pregnant. Therefore, everybody agrees that you can't provide them even with fetuses, even with animals which are pregnated. Okay, not just you can't allow them to leave an animal to around the future, but can't buy them with animals which are pregnant at the moment, because the Yehuda specifically is matir by shaber zachar, not by shaber nekeva, even if they don't leave it around, because it might already, says Bein Moshe, be pregnant from previously. Korban is a different shot, but we'll leave that for now. I don't know the Yerushalmi about his own frame me right now. I haven't said whether that's actually the Gerson Yerushalmi, the Aslam Tilahem Mubarim. Now let's give them Mubarim so that clearly going to happen in Moshe. It has the Gerson later on in this Gemara itself, as we shall see in the next case. Tama Taninon, we went over there. We're in the Bechiris. Okay, somebody who purchases the fetus of a donkey of a non-Jew, somebody sells to them, even though he's not allowed to sell to them. Somebody who makes a partnership with him, somebody who receives an animal to raise for him, somebody gives him an animal to raise on his behalf, so it says, Chagai boy come Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Chagai asked Rabbi Yossi, "Leisa da amara." Does this not tell you teacher also hamtilahem? It says here abadim in the Vilna, but it's supposed to say ubarim. Everybody changed gear, so I'm sure the article changed it actually inside. That you're not allowed to give them ubarim. Check the article. Now it's interesting though the Gemara. Yes, the article does change it. But it's interesting is that the Gemara is learning Abi Shem Rashai is not because the issue of Bechera, but because the issue of Behema Gasa. Okay, even though the context here is put to be in Bechera, but evidently the Seifa of this Mishnah or Brisa, this Mishnah is ramification. Nafkamina. The Reish is talking about to sell them the Chamor even the Ubarim. And the Sefer says, but if you did so, it's part of the So, so in any event, we see that it's a Milbarim, right? So it says, well, you're right, of course. Amalek Kwakamucha Rabbi Abun. Rabbi Abun already preceded you in this statement. So it's a measure of Islam Tilam Zera. You have to provide with them Zera, in Zera meaning even not just the wherewithal to have offspring, but even the Ubarim are allowed to sell as part of the Isser of selling Behema Gasa to a non-Jew. Okay, so Gemara goes on. Next part of the Mishnah. It said Ben Beseres Mati Besus. I have to sell them a horse. Lamar here the Korban changes Rabbi Yehuda to Ben Besera. Actually, let's go change it inside with the parentheses and brackets. Lamar Ben Besera El Besus Zachar. Shehorig Baal Ben Mechama. You need to sell him a male horse because male horses go crazy in warfare. They go berserk and they kill the rider. So it's one less violent soldier in the world. I guess something to that effect. So Yeshua, some say Shuratz Achar Keva. Why does it kill the rider? Because it runs after the mares, after the female horses, and that's how it goes berserk, and it runs to. As Kumanei Moshe says, Shuratz Achar Keva. Shaloi Tel Sonim. We see runs after the females he sees by the enemy. And Ratzon comes Sakana, puts its right in danger. And Yeshomim, some say, Oimed Umashtin. It stands and urinates. And the sand urinates, so the cavalryman on its back cannot save himself from the enemy's blows or enemy's weapons. Manafi Benel, what's the difference between the two? Hasaris, a castrated horse. If the opinion is that the owner is killed because he pursues the females, they know what's a castrated horses don't pursue females, evidently. But the issue is the stands and urinate. Afu omedu mashtin. So too, he too will stand and urinate. Okay, so why the Chachamim argue? So Divrei Chachamim, who argue Ben Seira, because when he gets older, so and he no longer can serve in war, so then he is going to be used as a grinding horse, and they're going to be grinding on Shabbos, and Shvisas Behemto comes into play again. Okay, we go back to a point which the Pnei Moshe made in the Mishnah yesterday about Ben B'Sein Rabban's Machlokes about Chaynos Yisatzmo by other creatures besides human beings. So Rabbi Yossi Berebun B'Shem Rabbi Yehuda Ben B'Seira Yossi Berebun B'Shem Yehuda said Ben B'Seira Rabbi Nosson Amud Davar Echad. B'Seira Nosson said the same thing. That by other Baalei Chaim, besides human beings, we also say Chaim Noiseis Atzmo. The time we learned Oti Behema Chayav V'Chayav Opas Ben Chaim Ben Mesim, and on Shabbos you take out animals, domesticated, non-domesticated birds, whether dead or alive, no matter what. Chayav. Tanakama says you're Chayav for it's on Shabbos. So that's my Mesim Chayav. If they're dead, you're Chayav. So obviously no Chayav. That's no say it's Atzmo. They're dead. The Chaim Potter. If they're alive, you're Potter. Which is kind of straightforward. So the Gemara says, Rabbanan Islam Mishum Chayav Chatos. The Moshe explains, Kamar the Parach Ihachi, the Bli Ben B'Sei Rabbanan B'Susam Yuchel Ophos, right? So therefore, according to this understanding, our Mishnah, Rabbanan and Rabbi B'Sei are arguing by Susam Yuchel Ophos. Can you sell to a non-Jew? According to Ben B'Sei can't, because Chaim Nosei Esatzmo won't be doing a malacha on Shabbos if it carries birds. By according to Rabbanan, it will be doing malacha because they don't say Chaim Nosei Esatzmo by birds. In Rabbanan Islam Mishum Chiv Chatos. So they hold that there's a Chiv Chatos, and get not after Chiv Chatos, but there's a malacha d'oraisa involved, right? So if that's the case, the inum is similar hachein bitmiyah. And they responded in the previous Gemara that Rabbi Achim Shem Tanchum Rabbi Chia said she yaskin kodna b'rechaim. Then when it grows old, you're going to use it to grind flour. Bitmiya. She ben b'seir. Going back to Moshe. She yaskin kodna b'chui. Table did who b'mayde pli chiv chatas is chiv chatas is b'hu. Because he's going to use it for carrying birds. Umishane, and the Gemara answers. Me Pnei Moshe first. I'll read inside the Gemara. Shitosha b'Mseir Shivu. They respond to b'Mseir Shitoso. They done. There's anyway this issue of the carrying the birds. But you according to you the Ma'at B'chol Ba'alei Chaim Chaim Nosei Atzmo. You hold by all Ba'alei Chaim. We say the live animal bears its own self. Ben Osam Shum Shvus. and therefore there's no intrinsic prohibition of Meshus Bento, because there's only a rabbinic prohibition at worst involved in carrying a bird, even if you did it yourself. Um, Nevertheless, the chiv chat is about basus. She is a yigno kon the because when it's elderly, you're going to use it to grind flour. There's grinding being done on Shabbos. So again, let's see that inside. So Rabbanan Islam Shum Chiv Chatos right now, because of the possibility of carrying birds, um, which are not Nosei Satzmo. We see them in and they're talking about she asking Malkir Beit Chaim. She tells us she will. They respond according to Shita. That in that respect, that you say that it's a kind of Bilchus Be'em Agasa, it should be a problem of Islam. She asked we also do that because there's this issue with when he grows older. Moshe changed the gears slightly based on one of his B'shitchas Shatom B'shum Shvus Kar Gears of Azar Gears of the Hach Hainu Hach the Hilchos Be'em Agasa Ein Elam B'shum Shvus Melokam Deleka Melacha B'Shas Mechila Ben Meseira. Even according to you that hold there's no issue except the Shvus at the time of the Mechila. Oman Ishu Asam Kosus B'shum Shnei Dvarim. Nevertheless, should be also to sell for two reasons. And the other reason being the reason of she talking Rechaim, not really the second reason, but there's always the other reason. Okay, the Korban changed the gears slightly differently. She Tascha is the same change, I guess. Anyway, that's really the same thing as the name Moshe. So Kishitascha instead of Shemitoch, Kishitascha, Shalom Shemitoch. So Yisrael, she's like she asking Yisrael. We also have this other reason, which will apply according to you. According to you, the reason Chaim Satzmo would preclude the issue of the birds, but there's the issue of the she asking. Okay, and Rebbe Omer, Rebbe says that you're not allowed to sell the horse on account of two things. Because of clay Zion, Moshe says, and the Korban both says, because they teach the horses to trample their enemies. So he's selling them weapons with which they're going to wreak havoc in the world. And also, in other words, that it's going to be used in a way which is going to lead people to be over on Shvisas Bento on Shabbos by seeing that this animal is being used on Shabbos, and they think that this still belongs to Israel in some way, shape, or form, as we went through the sugis before. And the Gemara brings evidence for this. Vitani Kain, Chaya Gasa, Kivei Magasa. Chaya Gasa, which means a large, non-domesticated animal, is like a Behema Gasa. So, I guess like an elephant. Okay, so now this is how to non-Jew. So says Chaya Gasa, so non-Jew Rebbe. Even though you don't do malacha with it, because it could be used as a weapon. Divrei Chachamim, because according to Chachamim, Rabbi Bisna Chanin Bar Bo B'Shem Rav said Chayagas K'Behem Adaka. Chayagas is like a Behem Adaka, and therefore there's no issue to sell it unless it's a Mokum Shnagu. Be no issue to sell it non-Jew because obviously they don't hold of the weapon issue. The article brings down that even according to Rabbanan, you're not allowed to sell animals such as a bear or a lion, which is intrinsically violent. So now Jew Mishnah Zara Barakov Mishnah Zayin, but Chayagasa according to Rabbanan says no, they don't regard Chayagasa intrinsically as a weapon. They could be trained to act as weapons, so therefore those like Beim Adaka only be also in a Mokum Shinagu to not to sell it. Halachah Makom Shnagu Ochot Tzli B'Leil Pesachim, places where their custom is to eat roast on Leil Pesachim Ochlin, they can eat it. The Makom Shnagu Shalocho, place of custom not to eat roast because it looks like eating the Korban Pesach outside of Yerushalayim, and Ochlim, and they can't eat it. Makom Shnagu Ladlik Saner B'Leil Yom Kippurim, places where the custom is to light a candle on Friday night. Not sure Yom Kippur night. Sorry, we'll see why the issue. Well, Bnei Moshe brings that here, so we'll use the spoiler. Well, first let's read inside. Makom Shlogu Shalalik, Aim Alikim, places of the customers light, they do light. Makom Shlogu Shalalik, Aim Alikim, places where it is not light, they don't light. And the Bnei Moshe says, Makom Shlogu Davar Echad Iskavnu. So both have same mind. Only Lalik, Kadesh Shimana Mitash Mamita. Bishas Hashem Shitas Loraner. So they light candles in order to curtail forbidden marital relations, because they won't have tashmish by the light of the candle. Those who say not light, or they shouldn't see each other and come to desire each other. Madlik says the Mishnah, no matter what, Madlik, but they but they madrashos, but they mavos hafem, you light in shuls and but they matters in dark streets, and where people are sick. And as Moshe says, b'chol makom she'ein ish v'ishlo misyachnim sham, any place where there's no issue of husband and wife potentially coming to have relations on Yom Kippur. Okay, the says Gemara, Rabbi Ba Kum Rabbi Imi, Rabbi Ba asked from Imi. This also is to eat roast, even to eat roast on Pesach night. I feel a basar ego is it even calf meat, or specifically roast lamb or goat, which is with current Pesach only come from lamb and goat, not from calves. So our Malay said I feel basar ego, I feel basar off. So he said, well, I feel basar ego, sorry, even calf meat. I feel basar off. What about chicken meat? I feel basar off. Not only they roast chicken either. Savin matzah, savin mema. I wanted to say I feel beitza, even an egg, and I feel kukus, even a kukus, which the Karban Ada says is a type of loof, which is a plant of some sort. Which doesn't particularly help me because I don't know what a loof is, and the article does not translate either. Actually, I get here from Google Translate is arum. It says in Wikipedia, all parts of the plant, including the berries, are poisonous. In spite of this, the plant has a history of culinary use among Arab peasants in Palestine, who leached the toxins from the plant before the leaves were consumed. Okay, fine, whatever it is. So, what about this roast loof? Some say that have a girsa kulias, which is a type of fish, and the Korban likes that girsa better. So even egg, even a fish, you're not allowed to eat things which are roasted, which you eat through shchita, but anything else, roast vegetables, roast fish, you're allowed to have at the Seder. Tana Rabbi Shimon Elazar Mer Yom Kippur is going to go to the next one. Mishnah Rabbi Shimon Elazar Mer Yom Kippur Shchal b'Shabbos. Yom Kippur comes on Shabbos. Apil b'makom. The Mashmir changes from Shalonagu Ladlik from Shalonagu Shalo Ladlik, a place where the custom is not to light candles. Madlikin, you do light. So even though the normal custom of Yom Kippur is not to light candles there because it's covered Shabbos and Lach of Shabbos, they do light candles. Okay. Rabbi Shimon ben Levi, Rabbi Yosef ben Shol ben Shem Rabbi said, "Halok Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar." That you even though the makom is the makom shlogu shalalik on Yom Kippur, since it's Shabbos, you do light the candles. Dor Rabbi Chia bar Bar b'Tveria kador Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. When Rabbi Chia bar came to Tveria, he was darshan in public that follows Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. Yossi Amar Lo Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachman b'Shem Rabbi Yonasan. Rabbi Yossi said in the name of Shul Nachman, the name of Rabbi Yonasan, Chizkiah va'ami lo Rabbi Yaakov Rachel said b'Shem Rabbi Shul bar Nachman. Whoever said it, Makom Shinagu Ladlik Mishubach. Makom Shinagu Ladlik. It's better. The place that they did have the custom light candles on Yom Kippur Eve is superior to the place where the custom was not to light candles. Rabbi Yehuda said, Taita shows the case you came that it's better to light. Shari Yom Kippur Shabbos b'Shabbos say Makom Shinagu Ladlik Madlikin, because it's the place. The upgrade is that when Shabbos and Yom Kippur come out together, you do light. So it's going to be superior. It's better to be madlik. So Rabbi Bar, Rabbi Simon Taver, mean Teda l'chashukein. So this is true in terms of our issue. Shisha said tanua v'eimasham v'shitas on there. A person is tanua and he doesn't have relations by light of candle, so that's the superior custom to actually light the candle. Ben Commander Ali, Ben Commander Amar, Emalim Neher. But both of them, one's a hold to light and one's a hold not to light, it's also, like Moshe explained, in order not to bring a person, in order to make sure, try to have a person avoid having relations. Manam Malikin, Shuram is Bayish, because he sees and he's embarrassed, because he doesn't want to have Tasha B'Shalom there. Manda Emel Malikin, Shalo Rabbi Yisabeh. Which shows not to light is in order that you shouldn't see it and come to have a desire. Tani, we learned afilu bateknesios ubate midrashos. So it says that you light even in bateknesios and bate mechatzos. Sorry. So I'm going to change the Gisa here. Kushan Kashut, the Mashbiach, and the art scroll. Who's the art scroll saying change the name of? To be Yerushalmi. And Mashbiach and Mechani Kanevsky. Tafiu Batei Kisos, Ubate Mirchos. So these are also places where you light candles in in bathrooms and in bathhouses. The article points out from the Shuri Carbon here that this is going to opinion that you can use a bathhouse on your kippur for it to be less carry. So therefore they had to light a candle there. So it's basically have to be candles. Why do we need to tell us this? In a place where there's a custom not to light in these places in light because there's no issue of coming to desire and coming to marital relations as a result, which means at the end of the Amud, and therefore we'll stop here for today.